I had a question on my last video about how do you stay high vibe? And the answer is you don't. So, from my personal experience and from what I understand, this is not medical advice, my personal experience, you are the most beautiful, happy, abundant being in your most authentic form. And we have these bodies that hold programs that we are running. And the reason why we feel bad and pain and dis-ease is because we build so much resistance in these bodies. We hold so many untruths, false identities, pain. Emotions and energy are flowing through us all the time, and they're supposed to enter us, they're supposed to be digested, and they're supposed to be released. And there's so many moments that get caught, stuck in our beings because no one's taught us how to properly release our emotions or embrace our emotions. And for me, the only way that I have found to find peace on any trauma or pain is to go through it. To go through it, to dive into it, to embrace it, to let the demons rage, to let, and I don't mean that literally, but I mean these false identities that we create and hold on to. We have to just let these monsters that we've created or that have been put upon us that we're stuck in a loop in, we have to let them rage. You have to feel it. You have to scream it out, cry it out, have a somatic release. That's what I've done. And it can be intense, but the peace and the freedom and the self-awareness is on the other side. I have used many different techniques to do this. I use the source that I do channel conversations. I ask them. There's been times where I've gotten hypnosis sessions to find deeper, hidden traumas inside of myself that I struggle to find by myself. I also believe that life is me pushed out. Everything in my life is me pushed out. So if there's any area of my life that isn't going right, I look at what are the beliefs I must have in that area of my life. I came from a very religious background, with the end of the world and very rigid rules, and that messed me up for a long time. And it taught me a lot about, I guess, self-hatred. Like, there were so many false identities, like God must hate me, how would he let this happen, or why am I, if I make a mistake, I'm you could throw me away. There was a lot of different traumas, and then there were physical traumas on top of that, and it just got really heavy. And I suffered with anxiety and depression for most of my life, but silently, because of the shame and the guilt and not knowing what to do about it and not having the right tools. So for myself, feeling the pain and walking through it and coming out the other side, and there's something crazy that happens. It's like we torture ourselves with these things and they seem so big, and when you're in the middle of them it seems so big, and then all of a sudden it's like you can't cry anymore and you can't scream anymore. You're just exhausted, and then you feel nothing. And then there's this moment where you just, like, all of a sudden there's peace and there's clarity and there's self-realizations about your self-worth. I realize all of my traumas have been different beliefs that I was not worthy or deserving or good enough, or that I was shameful or bad. And once you start to identify those patterns, anytime they start to show up again, you know how to identify them and how to root them out and how to allow that stuck emotion inside of your being to be integrated and released, the wisdom to be left and the pain to be released. And there might be a better way, but for me, the most authentic and quick method that I have found is just to feel it. And if that's not safe, there's a million different things you can do. You can take a somatic session. You can get hypnosis. I do highly recommend hypnosis. It's nice to have somebody there to hold you as you cry and as you feel it. I hope this helps. I wish I had more answers. My heart goes out to anybody that's in pain. And I used to think that healing was somehow fixing all the past or changing the past, and it's not. It's just being at peace with the past. In fact, I find myself sometimes even in a space of gratitude for the past, because although it was painful and I would never want to do it again, I can also see that I wouldn't be me here now without it, and I wouldn't have passions in the area of my life that I have passions, and the parts of me that I have realized and that I'm building a relationship with, the parts of me that I actually like for the first time in my life. I wouldn't have it without that experience. So, with that being said, I've been at this for 8 years, and the last 6 months have kicked my butt. And I used to think, again, that healing meant that everything was easy, and sometimes it's not. But I can tell you that from what I have healed, when the hard times come up, it's not as suffocating, because I know that my peace and my self-awareness is on the other side of whatever is going on. And if I just stay open to clarity, to understanding, open in my emotions to express myself, always in a safe space, but never pushing down my emotions ever again, being authentic, even if it's going out to your car to scream and cry and just, I can't tell you how many times I've just cussed situations out in my car, kicking and screaming, but I don't hold it. I express it. I feel it in the moment. I validate it. Yes, I'm pissed. I deserve to be pissed. This is messed up. And then I breathe through it, and it's done. And you feel so light when it's done. I hope this has helped somebody. I wish I had a more eloquent answer. Please be safe, and if you need help, get help. There's so many different avenues for people to help. But I think the biggest thing is life is emotional and life is messy, and I think being high vibe isn't always being happy all the time, but it's having peace with who you know you are inside, even during the hard times. Like, I know who I am and I love myself, and just because there's a hard time going on doesn't rock that inner love. I think that's more of what being high vibe is. It's not everything is perfect. I also heard this belief a while back about, if it hasn't worked out for you in life, it's just not done. Like, you think it's the end chapter and it's just never worked out and it's never going. No, you're in the middle of the book. If it hasn't worked out, it's just not done. The story's not done. So that's what I tell myself a lot. If it hasn't worked out yet, there's just another chapter. So I hope this helps. Much love.